Did you know that the giant sequoia can grow to be 300 feet tall? And it starts from a seed no bigger than a grain of wheat. I believe that we all contain seeds of greatness. Each and every one of you has all the inner resources to grow and thrive to your fullest potential. But why is it now that while a few of us thrive, most of us decide to remain very small and tight in our shell, or maybe just grow just big enough so that we're comfortable? I've come to the conclusion that it's about our growing conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that it is our growing conditions that determines our greatness. Trees need the proper growing conditions, sunlight and water. People, too, need growing conditions. I believe that people will thrive given the conditions of love, approval, and encouragement. Today, I'd like to share with you my story about how I went from very small to flourishing. As a child, I grew up in an environment that was very dry, what you'd call a barren, hostile climate. Now, this was back in the days before the popularity of positive parenting. Now, I have only compassion for my parents because they were just doing the best that they could at the time. But I was fed a steady diet of criticism, punishment, shame, blame, manipulation. As a result of that climate, I created an inner environment where I felt low self-esteem, not good enough. I felt incapable. I had an I can't do it attitude. This negative attitude persisted in my life until I was 35 years old. There I was, full-grown woman with 3 beautiful children, and yet I felt less than in every way. This persisted until one day my mother came to visit. I thought, goody, this is it. Today is the day. I'm going to hear I'm good enough. I told a friend I was going to take my mother out salsa dancing. My friend said, "Are you sure you want to put yourself through that? You know, your mother." I said, no, this time is going to be different. This time, my mother is going to tell me I'm great at something. She's never seen salsa dancing before. How could she possibly criticize it, right? We went out to the club. I did my thing. I danced my heart out. Well, Mom, what'd you think? "You danced like a cat," she said. "You look like you were going to pounce on your partner." I went home that night and I cried my eyes out. I cried for every time I had looked outside of myself for approval. And in that minute, I was done with it. I surrendered it over and I said, show me how I can let go of looking what other people think about me and how I can just start to feel good enough inside myself. Well, ask and receive. I fell asleep, and that night I saw the vision of my whole life flash before my eyes. I saw myself in kindergarten. Mommy, look what I drew. You call that art? I saw myself in 5th grade. Mommy, I got a part in the play. That's not a role. Why, I had the lead in all of my plays. 8th grade. Mom, I'm thinking about joining the choir. Oh, you can't sing. That's ridiculous. And so on throughout my whole life. And in that moment, I got it. Trees do not look to another tree for their sustenance, their sunlight and water. All they do is drink it in. Right there, I took charge of my own growing conditions. I started to feed and nourish myself with self-approval. I loved that little kindergartner's artwork. I told myself I was a wonderful actress and not even a bad dancer, and certainly a wonderful mom. I fed myself everything I'd been lacking, and right there, I started to thrive. And it spilled out into every area of my life. Every area, I began to succeed. If you know someone who is suffering from low self-esteem, a lack of self-worth, feeling not good enough, or any other ravages from unhealthy conditioning, know that people are not like trees, because people can change their growing conditions. Helen Keller said, "What I am looking for is not out there. It is in me." Feed yourself and watch yourself blossom.